How's it going, everybody? So I usually just start by addressing why it is that it's so hard for me to get up these stairs. I have MS. That's Mike Sierra. You didn't already know MS stands for multiple sclerosis. It's a bit of a tongue twister. But you guys can take from me, one sclerosis is more than enough. It'll just fuck with you for your whole life. I was pretty adamant when I started doing this about a year and a half ago. I did not want to make MS like my identity, my shtick, if you will. But every time I would tell another comedian that, they would kind of look at me the same way that people look at me at the airport when I get to cut to the front of the line in a wheelchair. Like, it seems pretty fucking convenient. Pretty damn convenient. But my answer is the same to both people. I'm like, that 5 or 10 minutes is definitely not worth it, you know. Our planes leave at the same time, you know, so it doesn't matter that I get to sit in a small chair for 10 more minutes than you. So one of the biggest triggers for MS is stress. And so for that reason, my wife and I decided that we are not going to have kids. And I've heard from people tell me, they're like, isn't stand-up comedy stressful too? And I'm like, yeah, it absolutely is. But it's just a different type of stress. Like, so far I haven't felt like taking my belt off and beating the shit out of everybody. That's how stuff is handled at our house. My parents are both of the baby boomer generation. I think by 2023 standards, my parents are like a menace to society. Because in 8 years together, they created 5 straight, white, cisgendered males. Ew, right? Stephen, David, Daniel, Matthew, and Douglas. Yeah, I'm Daniel. I'm the middle child. I have a very middle child experience too. My older brother Dave is definitely like the Marsha to my Jan. He's like more conventionally good looking. He's a better athlete. He didn't get a neurological disorder. Little things like that. Let's see here. I'm going to tell you, I just got done having a friggin' traumatic September, and I want to tell you about it. First, it started with a Labor Day vacation. The setting was the Oregon coast. I'm not sure if any of you guys have been there, probably living around here. For those of you guys who have never been to the Oregon coast, just picture a beautiful ocean setting and then remove all of the warmth and color and vibrancy. I like to call it the UK of the PNW. And we are also there with my in-laws, so you know that's great. I mean, they're great people. They're great people. My brother-in-law had his 2 kids there, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. So the decibel level never went lower than like 110, you know. But my wife and I made a mistake of trying something new. We went whale watching. Has anyone ever been whale watching here? We were so excited. We got to the front left part of the boat, and we're heading out, and you know, we're just bouncing up and down. It seemed so fun. And then the boat stopped, and we're still rocking this way, and then we're rocking this way. And all of a sudden I feel like my stomach dropping, and I just hear my wife puke off the side of the boat. And right then and there, I puked for the one and only time that day. I puked up the most colorful thing I saw the entire time I was in Oregon. But right then, I almost crapped my pants too. And the very first time I puked, I almost crapped my pants. And so for the rest of the trip, I discovered that the cure to seasickness is just not wanting to shit your pants. Because that would have been like a watershed moment in my life. Like, it was all of my in-laws and their kids, and like 50 other people. We would have just been stuck on a boat with me and my shitty pants. So I just held that together. There were whales breaching all around us. I could hear the people reacting. I didn't see a single whale the entire time because I was just like Van Damming that shit. So it was crazy. But Yeah, so that was the first traumatic part of my September. We got back, and about a week later, I got a terrible case of food poisoning. It was awful, yeah, so I ended up shitting my pants a lot. But there's a couple things. I'm always trying to look for the positives of everything. One positive I got from food poisoning, it was the very first time I ever got like a true Abercrombie body. Oh my gosh, Abercrombie model bod. Say that 3 times fast. I puked so many times I would get up from puking and I just looked into the mirror and I was like, oh, like with like a pouty look on my face and like, damn, you're looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Also, a cold sweat really makes your hair look freaking awesome. So here's something that's a little personal, but I like to share myself with the audience. Who here knew that you could puke so hard that you would give yourself hemorrhoids? I didn't know that. In fact, before that happened, the word hemorrhoid kind of just lived in the stories of other people. I really didn't know what the fuck they were until I got one. It was just like a whole new definition to the term bubble butt. But I'm on the mend. Okay, so I'm going to kind of take a left turn, but I made the mistake of turning on the news the other day, and it's always bad news. I'm sure you guys know. I don't need to tell you that. But one of the things that they're doing nowadays, a certain party, certain leaning in this country, they're banning books in this country, which I didn't realize was still a thing. It's like they didn't realize the internet was a thing or something like that. But they're banning like little kid books, which I've also found really strange. But then I think back to some of the books that I read growing up, and they kind of had an effect on me. Do you guys ever read the book If You Give a Mouse a Cookie? Yeah, if you haven't, it's basically if you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to want a glass of milk. And if you give him a glass of milk, he's going to want a straw. And if you give him a straw, he's going to want a napkin. And by the end of the book, he owns your house and he's banging your wife. It's fucked up. Like, if you give him Moose and Muffins, even more fucked up. Super dark. But another thing that they're banning in this country is drag, the art of drag. Which, if you told me that a few years ago, I probably wouldn't have cared that much. I didn't know much about drag. And then my wife introduced me to the show RuPaul's Drag Race. And I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like I'm a lot of guys where when she first did it, I'm like, baby, like, I don't really like reality TV. I just don't really feel like this is something that I'm going to want to spend my time watching. I'm sorry. And about a month and 12 seasons later, and I'm in the shower just like, I'm a bitch. Yo, I'm a bitch. Don't be bitch. You could be that bitch, but you weren't that bitch. It's unanimous. I'm a bitch. I'm here to take the crown. Make my mama proud. Let's see, do I have anything else? Okay, so driving here, I was listening to classic rock as I normally do, and the song Cats in the Cradle came on. You guys ever hear that song? It's a lot more fucked up of a song than I thought. Like, I knew it was melancholy, but I was listening to it this time and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, the very first line, he says, "A child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way." And I'm like, way to just completely discount the mother's role in the birth of your kid. Like, I'm assuming by usual way you're talking about your wife pushing his huge head through her birth canal or something like that. And then the very second verse, he says, "My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw?" I said, not today, I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay. Nothing about that is okay. Like, this guy's entire identity is that he works too much, but yet he gets his 10-year-old son a singular ball for his birthday. And then his kid's 10 years old, he doesn't know how to throw said ball. Like, later on he's pissed off that he doesn't want to hang out after college. I'm like, you're lucky your kid went to college. He sounds like an active shooter in the making or something. Okay guys, you've been so awesome. Thank you so much.